Well, here we go. I'm going to give it a go here with the ellipse cutting jig here. It's stuck down with double-sided tape, roughly in the center of this hunk of plywood, or hunk of MDF here. I've already done one lap around with it off to see how it looked. I got my cord hung up out of the way. I'll have to unwind it every lap I do. I'm going to take about 1/8 of an inch off every time, and it's probably going to get a little bit difficult after a while, because once I get close to being cut all the way through, it's only going to be supported by right these edges, so I'll have to think about that. But in any case, I can try one pass. I've got my plunger outer depth set to about 1/8 into the material. It's touching it right now. Just release the lock and push down and I can go. So, do I want to set up the camera? I suppose so. We'll see how we go here. It's a beautiful day here. Nice big pond over there. That's where the water always accumulates. There's a drain over there, but I think it's plugged. I think we got some. See if I can hold this steady enough to get a good shot here. I think we've got some Canada geese sitting there. This is definitely shaky cam. This camera's a pretty good zoom. Anyways, we'll get to it here. Pause you guys for a second, then we'll set up the camera and see if we can get a shot of this. Okay, so I'll just get on camera. One thing I forgot to mention is I lubed up the slides of the thing with a bit of ivory here. And it seems to move pretty freely, so I'm pretty happy about that. I also put a couple of nuts on the top, so the exposed screws that hold the plastic part of the circle or the ellipse cutting guide down, just to keep it from popping off or having any great amount of play on it. I could probably adjust a bit of the play in the slides themselves with some shims underneath, but I don't want to really tighten it up a lot because it'll just become a lot harder to use. So I'm going to put my ear protection, eye protection on, and we're going to go and try some cutting here, see how it goes. Well, it worked pretty easy. That worked pretty easy. I didn't take a full 1/8 inch cut. I just wanted to do a test to see how it would look. So I just kind of pressed it down, probably maybe a 1/16. I figured now's the time to not take it too fast there. It looks okay. So I'll wind this back, and I'll do the rest of my cuts, and I'll show you the results afterwards here. I'm probably going to need to do some sanding around the edges to even it up, because I can feel just a little bit of play in the slides there. I might have to think of a little bit better thing. Maybe I can machine something. But if I use this thing a lot, then I'll think about that. Otherwise, this will, suffice perfectly well. I'm not going to be too worried about it. Okay, so we're all cut all the way through. As I predicted, it was a bit of a pain in the butt when I was breaking through. I used some of these clamps to hold it ahead of where I was cutting, then I'd move them behind where I was cutting. And I think it turned out pretty good. You can't really see very well because it's in here. I don't want to take it out yet, because I'm going to cut another band about inch. I guess I can't really go 1/2 inches because I've only got inches on my scale here. But I'm going to try. Yeah, I'm going to eyeball it and see 1 to 2 inches inward of the current diameter here, and do just a light grazing cut to just to mark a line with the router. I think I'll put a different bit. I think I'll put a V bit in it or something like that, but we'll try that and see how that goes. It looks like it works great. It doesn't really bind. I wouldn't recommend going in both directions because I found that because of the play in that it moves outward a bit, or well, at this side it moved outward a bit, so it's probably not a good idea. But in any case, I did all my cuts counterclockwise actually. And you can do a cleanup cut afterwards. I don't know how necessary it's going to be. I know I'm going to have to do some sanding on this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unclamp everything, remove the scrap, and move the sawhorses in a bit to better support the ellipse. And then I'm going to try another cut just inside. Like I said, I think maybe I will do about a 2-inch band. I'll have to see. That's, I think, about 2 inches right there, and I think that'll be, I'll think about it. Anyways, later. Hey guys, been talking to my neighbors for the last couple hours. One of them's a roofer, so worked out that we're gonna get my roof redone this summer, which gets a lot off my mind because it's been needing to be done for a little while now, especially after those botched skylights were put in. But so yeah, I didn't get much more done on my sign here, but I'll show you what I've got going so far. Okay, that gives you some idea of where it is. I routed out just that little groove. That's going to be where the inner line of that EL wire is. I'll do another one 1/2 inch in from the edge here. I'll mark that one. And marked off where the lettering is going to approximately go, where it starts over here, goes across on that line. And I got some stuff printed out that I'm going to put on my homemade light table, which is kind of temporarily lit with this light here. But I'll lay out these letters on here. I can align them a little bit better because I printed them such that let's see, there we go. So that they overlap, and I can line them up a bit here and get them in place, tape them together. Then I'll lay them out over top of the sign there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a ballpoint pen, and I'll trace around the edges of them so that they'll impress into it. I don't have any carbon paper, so I can't use that, but I'll use that to emboss a bit into that, and then I'm going to take some carving tools and carve out a line where the letters are, and we'll be good to go at that point. Then I'll drill everything out, lay it all out for the wire, and then once that's all done, all the holes are drilled for where the wire is going to come through and all this and that. I will sand this thing again. I did sand it a bit with my little mini handheld DA here, and this is a cheapie I got from Princess, and it actually works quite well. I'm kind of happy with it. It's a nice palm-sized one. I did that with, what did I do that with? 150 grit, and knocked the edges, rounded the edges off with the router, so it's gonna look pretty good. Then once everything's all laid out, ready to go, then I'm gonna prime this thing and spray it white, and we'll see how that goes. I don't think I'm gonna actually paint any of this. It's all gonna be with the EL wire. I'm just gonna trace out where the wires go. Anyways, probably will not work on any more on this weekend. I got to do the brakes in the Civic, but this is where I'm at right now. Okay, there we go. I've got it all taped together, taped into the right spot here, and I just tried a little experiment because I had another idea, and I'll explain it in a second here. But I traced along the edge of the lettering there, and I can see it is slightly embossing into there, so I think I'm going to be okay with that. Because I'll just come in there, like I said, afterwards, after I remove this, and just take a little V-groove, like a hand carving bit, and just cut a little groove into it to outline that. But I also had another idea that I could have done, and I was going to try it if this didn't work. And that was to take my automatic punch, and then just basically punch at an interval along the outside of it here, and then just later on connecting the dots, go and grab my French curves from my old drafting set, and trace that out. But I think this will work out well enough with the pen. Because it's not going to be super accurate because I'm not that artistically inclined, but nonetheless, it'll be plenty good enough for a 1/8 inch wide EL wire. So I think this will end up looking not half bad. Okay, I don't know how well this is going to show up. I ended up giving up on the idea of using a pen to emboss, and what I did is I just took a razor knife and traced out all the letters, making sure to cut very hard. And you can see, hopefully you can see, that it's cut the Esso symbol into here. So I'm going to go and grab like some V carving bits and try my hand at setting that up. And I have an idea, rather than painting this, that might work. I just have to see if I have the stuff. I know I've got some white stuff, but if you're a model airplane person, you might actually be able to guess what it is. But I don't know if I've got any blue left, and I might have used up all of the red for sure, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, I don't know how visible this is going to be, but there you go. I've used my carving tools here that are a little bit rusty, but nevertheless, to highlight all of the letters. I redid the border. It's all a little crude, like it's not perfect, but considering that it's going to all be filled in, all those traces are going to be filled in with EL wire. That'll kind of tend to smooth out the shape. But nonetheless, I think that's it for tonight. It's getting a little bit late already. I think it's it's either 8 or it's past 8. But it's a lovely, well, I'd say spring evening, but technically it's still winter. You can hear the frogs croaking away. Cat in the bucket of a tractor, as they should be. And what do you see? I know I saw Mo around here somewhere. She must be hunting Mo. Wow. Excuse me. Anyway, she's up to mischief. So we'll see her later. Anyways, good night, guys. Kitty conference here. Tuffy's around here somewhere. Not in the cage, though. There she is. There you go.